So before I jump into the content of our presentation, I just wanted to present myself again. I think Andres and Maria already know what I do, but just in case, I'm the head of investments at Fagura. I'll be working on the investments in the platform and also in the equity and a couple other small aspects. And Catalina is our operations director. We have quite interesting experiences beforehand, but here that's what we will be in charge of. Um, all right.
Nice to meet you.
Nice meeting you as well. Um, In terms of the presentation, it's not going to be too long, probably 10, 15 minutes, and then we'll have as much time as necessary to answer the questions. The presentation will have a bit of a context of what the current preemptive round means and how it came to be, a bit of what Fagura has done in the past year or more, and what our plans for this year and a bit more on the terms of the round itself. All right, let's jump in. This round started as a right that Cedars slash currently Republic has exercised. We had a convertible round last autumn winter of 1.3 million euros. Yeah, it came from a couple of angel investors and two funds. And though that round was as a convertible notes round. I'll get in a bit more details on what the convertible round means, but the short version would be that it's basically a loan that will convert into equity at the time of the next round, and I'll share some more details of what that also implies. Since this is somewhere in between a full round and something without having a full valuation, Republic has requested to also be participate in this round. Republic currently has 18.3% in Fagura's equity, and in order to not be diluted or to have the same opportunity as the investors that were in the round last winter, we have the current round, the preemptive round. It has been open for 2 weeks, and we have one more week of time to participate. And before I go to what Fagura is doing, um, the estimation on the Republic side refers to the level of investment for Republic to maintain a similar level of shares at the conversion moment. Meaning that currently it's 18.3, considering that there was the convertible notes at investments even without the new money. And that implies some dilution for Republic investors. And this is the opportunity to basically maintain the stake at the current terms. Now, in terms of our vision, we believe in entrepreneurship. As a bit of my personal story before, I was working for helping the development of startup ecosystem, working a lot of entrepreneurs as one of, and this vision is one of the reasons why I chose to join the team. And for entrepreneurship, at least in our region, but I think pretty much globally, it's the case that financing is one of the critical aspects, and also to have access to proper knowledge and other resources is quite critical. So this is how the vision and mission of Fagura has been structured. And the more specific mission is to empower 1 million entrepreneurs and starting from C, and we'll see what we go afterwards. Now a bit on the traction and the key results from the, let's say, last year. Fagura has grown in investment volume by 2.5. I think the ambition at the beginning of the year was of 2024 was to go three times. The actual result is 2.5. I still think it's a pretty great one. It implied a total volume of over 5 million in euros in investments, including in the primary market and the secondary market. Part of what also was implemented, we had several waves of cashback programs for SMEs. These were done in partnership with several organizations that wanted to support entrepreneurship in Moldova specifically. And what it implied was that it basically provided a cashback to entrepreneurs to cover some part uh, of the interest, but it also was also conditioned that the entrepreneurs had to pay in time for at least 6 months. So it also incentivized the higher quality of entrepreneurs that were accepted and also incentivized a better behavior once they got the loans. And Fagura got a lot of awards and recognition over the last year. It won the USAID Digi Award. It was part of awarded in part for the cashback program that was implemented. Last year, it also won the best Moldovan startup active in Romania for the Romanian Startup Awards. I think it was in November. Also, last year, the Digital Financial Services of the Year in Romania as well. And one of the awards that is currently assigned, and we'll talk a bit more publicly about it in the upcoming period, it's the AI-powered SME and freelance financing platform. And we'll share a bit more on what we are doing on AI. Currently, it's more than 1,500 investors. Actually, it's significantly more. This number is still from an earlier version of the slides. And so Fagura is licensed in EU and in Moldova by the National Bank. Some of the key milestones. One of the major ones is the two of the licenses Fagura got in Moldova. It's the license for crowdfunding, and we are still finalizing the transfer to basically be fully aligned with the crowdfunding law, which was approved last year. And also, Fagura has been licensed as a payment agent, meaning that Fagura is allowed to basically intermediate financial payments, which is a quite restricted area in Moldova. Also, Fagura launched in the Romanian market. It's still ramping up, but we see a lot of potential and it's going okay-ish. And basically, some of the new features are the bill payments in the app and and the sale with discount on the secondary market, meaning that the investors that want to sell some of the investments and they want this to happen a bit quicker, they can put a discount and there is a certain method for it. I'll not go into much details now, but if you're interested, I can share a bit more. Now, on the exciting part is what we are planning to do in the future. There is a quite long series of AI-powered features. Two of them that have already been launched in beta is the AI Financial Director and the AI Legal Advisor. For the investors, only the legal advisors is available at the moment. For the entrepreneurs, both the legal advisors and the financial director are available. We are working to enhance our proprietary scoring system with some AI features to include also some of the public domain knowledge about the people besides the financial and some of the aspects that we already are checking. Um, Also, in terms of the AI, now we are enhancing the application process for the entrepreneurs so they have an easier onboarding process and takes less time and effort, making sure that they don't get lost sometimes along the way of applying for the loan. Another interesting development is for the partnership with Mastercard. And there is a lot of interesting developments in terms of uh, meeting the entrepreneurs where they are, meaning that if they are already working through some platforms where they have some information besides the one shared to the financial authorities and they allow for that information to be processed, we can enhance their application and also making sure that basically we can give loans to more entrepreneurs while also maintaining a quite good level of uh, non-performing loans. So to making sure that not those that get in are not um, are of high quality, let's say. Then there is Fagura Prime, which I think is might be an interesting tool for the investors also on the platform. It's a portfolio management product that will have some interesting opportunities because it has a fixed interest rate and it has a reserve fund to basically protect the investments. So while the returns are slightly lower than the average of the active investors on the platform, it's also a bit more robust and protected against some of the disruptions in the market. Uh, Also, we are working to implement some more connectivity with the financial system, meaning IBAN, and we are exploring some other opportunities that we won't share yet. And we are growing a quite broad range of ecosystem services, trying to make sure that the entrepreneurs also feeling a bit of the community and the investors as well. So this is one of the other drivers since at least in Moldova and Romania, we are currently active. The community can play a significant role in helping the entrepreneurs and also from our side to making sure that they grow and that means that they will be able to pay the loans back. All right. This is our team. Well, actually, not the full part of the team, but the highlights, let's say, or some of the highlights. In terms of the new acquisitions, is me and Catalina who are presenting here today. You probably already know Tudor, who has been in most of the engagements with investors, and he's the also founder of Fagura. And we have large teams. Some of them have been newly joining as we have quite ambitious plans for growth. All right, so these were so far some of the aspects of what Fagura has been doing and what it's planning for the next period. Now, in terms of the round itself that we currently have, here are some of the details. First, it has a 20% discount, meaning that the investment that it has, that investors are making now, will have a 20% discount compared to the investment round that we are planning for early next year. The valuation cap is at 9 million, meaning that if the valuation we receive at the investment time will be higher, the equity shares for the current investors from the current round will be kept at 9 million, making it also quite advantageous in case we get a quite high valuation. All the money invested now will have a 12% interest rate in consideration. So if someone invests 100K now, we count the 12% interest rate until the moment when the new round will be financed. And then based on that amount, we'll have the 20% discount and the 9 million valuation. We can go in some more scenarios if you'll be interested afterwards. The maximum allocation for Caesar slash Republic is close to 300K. It's meant to basically maintain similar level of shares for Seeders investors. We have some also legal considerations of what happens if the amount goes above 20%. So it's easier for all the investors to maintain it under that. And the deadline for subscription is 28th of May, which is in 1 week, basically. Uh, this was the short main presentation. I have one more slide with some simulation in terms of investment, but let's hear how, if you have any questions, and we can discuss about those. Think there is a question in the chat. Let me see if I can.
Yes, please.
Yes.
Yeah,
So the
I
question,
just,
yes.
yeah.
If you can ask it verbally, it would be great.
No, you mentioned that the 20% interest is until the next funding round, but I think that's until the maturity date, no? 30 June 2026.
All right. I'll think I'll go directly in one of our backup slides, which explains a bit on different times of when things are converted into equity or some other forms. Let's see if it goes.
Yeah, the conversion to equity, it's when until the next round,
Yeah.
round,
So
but the interest
the
rate,
12% is basically until one of the conversion or repayment happens. So basically, if it's a qualified round, then at the moment of the round, the amount with the 12% interest gets converted. If there's the liquidity event, again, the 12% accounted in all cases until one of these three scenarios happens. And basically maturity is one of the scenarios. So 30th of June 2026 is the moment of maturity for the current loan, meaning that at that moment, if by then we don't have a qualified equity round, it will be converted with the 12% into shares at a 10 times company ARR. But not exceeding the valuation cap. So again, if the ARR is even higher, then again, the 9 million also taken into consideration. So that's in case of the maturity. We are aiming to get a financing round before that, but it's also one of the scenarios. Qualified financing means an investment, an equity investment of at least 1 million euros, and it has to be in shares. So convertible loans that we accrued so far will be converted all at that time based on the interest, and it will have one of the two scenarios. If the valuation at that moment minus the 20% is below 9 million, then that's the value. If the valuation minus the 20% is above 9 million, then 9 million is the cap for the company valuation, and the investment will be converted based on that valuation. And the first scenario that we have here is, and the slide is in the middle. It's a liquidity event, meaning that either Fagura is sold to some bigger investor or we have an IPO or wind up. At that time, there is basically two options. One, all the investments will be converted at 7 million valuation or the investors have the options to ask for the repayment of the convertible loans, depending on the individual preference, and probably also it will depend on the liquidity event. Let's say both the liquidity event and maturity date are the unlikely scenario, or at least not the ones that we are aiming for, or we're aiming to have around sometimes at the end of this year, beginning of next one.
Got it, thanks. I forgot about the other two events.
Yeah.
I have another question. Do you
Sure.
know what was the reason? I don't remember. I'm an investor in the beginning for the Seeders,
Mm-hmm.
and then Fagura raised this CLA round through Mosaic. Do you
Mm-hmm.
know why they didn't do this CLA round, the initial round, through Seeders or Republic?
I am not aware of the exact discussions at that moment. I think Mosaic was one of the interested parties. I'm not sure they even
Okay,
discussed the possibility of having a CLA round independently. So I think since it's also a, let's say, not as mainstream way of investing into a company, even in this round, we are having, let's say, the expectations that some of the investors that are usually investing might not really get on this one because of the understanding of what it means. Um, at the same time, I think it's a quite nice opportunity, especially if that we already had the CLA round with the funds and the angels, and the conditions are basically the same. So that was the ask from seeders for this round as well. So more time has passed. You have a bit more information, but with the same conditions.
got it. Thank you.
Uh, I have a question.
Sure.
I don't understand in which market will be trade Fagura shares.
Fagura is incorporated in Estonia, and that is basically the headquarters or the entity that is supervising all the other entities that we have. And that is where all the investments so far have been, and also where this one will be allocated.
But does your shares will be your shares traded in the stock market?
They are not publicly traded yet, no. We are still a startup. Our valuation that we are looking for is ranging from somewhere from 7 to 10 million at the moment, depending on how we look at things. And usually for being listed in an IPO, there is hundreds of millions in valuations, or at least that's the typical required valuation. So we are not yet publicly traded. I'm not sure if Seeders offers any trading between investors, but that's the current state. Yes, Andrei.
Yeah, I can also answer partially. If you want to invest in Fagura in shares, you need to be a current shareholder on Republic Europe, or you need to be a sophisticated investor on Seeders Republic.
Mhm.
In the meeting, in the Romanian version of the meeting, Tudor mentioned about this,
Yeah.
that you can invest in shares only if you're sophisticated or only if you are a current shareholder.
Yeah. So Andrei is absolutely right. I was thinking of mentioning that as well afterwards. Yes, so the current round is open to the existing investors and the sophisticated investors. In order to qualify as sophisticated, Seeders has their own methodology. Usually it involves that basically you are aware of what the risks are, and it's self-declared, but yeah, and the criteria that they ask for, and they usually ask a bit more details, would be if you have already invested in some startups. I think the minimum was of two. If you are an active participant in some of the angel groups. Um, yeah, I see Andre mentioned also that you can change it in the user settings. Usually that means that you are already quite comfortable with the risks because, well, as all investments, it has some associated risks.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
I not exactly understood. How did you said that you registered in Estonia?
Yes. So the
Because,
headquarters.
sorry, I thought you were somehow regulated by Moldovan National Bank.
Yes. So we have
That make it complicated.
several legal entities. In Moldova, we have at least two. Here, Catalina probably has a bit more knowledge on the operation side, and in Romania. And basically, the entity that is participating in Moldova, we are currently operating under one. We are finalizing the transition to the one that has been licensed under the new crowdfunding law. Until now, we had a bit of a different framework for working also with the approval of the regulator, but we finally have a crowdfunding law in Moldova, and we are transitioning to operate under that entity. And the Romanian entity is the one licensed at the Romanian authority, and it has the EU-wide license. And the Estonian entity basically owns this too.
Exactly. If I can add here, exactly what Christian described. So the Estonian entity is the entity that is the single shareholder in other entities that are operating in the Republic of Moldova and in Romania. And of course, these entities in Romania and Republic of Moldova are authorized and have these licenses to operate as a crowdfunding platform to give loans to the public, to the private entities and persons on these two markets. So we are the first crowd lending platform for the Romanian speaking market back in 2019. So that's why, this process of operating on these two markets are going hand in hand with the process by the government learning how to regulate this kind of platforms. So yeah, hope I answered your question.
Thank you.
I can share also maybe a bit of as an anecdote that even before joining Fagura, I saw how much Tudor was basically annoying all the governmental entities to get this done because they had this project on the table for a while. But it was slow moving, and I know that Tudor personally was annoying in the right way all the governmental work, not all, but some of the people in the government to get this done. But the need is quite large. I can share that basically for startups as well in Moldova, access to finance especially at the early stages is super limited, and having this option helps a lot.
So as I understand, if I don't have any shares of Fagura, I cannot participate in this round.
You can, if Republic identifies you or if you declare yourself as a sophisticated investor on Republic / Series.
Sorry, I uploaded in the chat a link to Europe Republic, where you can find all the criteria that you have to meet to be qualified as a sophisticated investor. So if you want to invest in this round, you simply have to create an account on Republic if you don't have it one yet. I did it last week. I did the process from the start, and I was qualified as a sophisticated investor. The criteria aren't very, very sophisticated. You can find the criteria on that link, and yeah, it's quite easy to create the account and to meet those criteria. And then, if you are qualified as a sophisticated investor on Republic, the round is open to you.
And if you have an account that maybe was created a bit earlier and you got some more experience, from what I see that Andrei shared also in the chat, is that you can basically request to be reevaluated as a sophisticated investor. So it is possible, but there is a limitation, and I think it's related to Andrei's question on why it wasn't done in the earlier or through Republic initially. I think because Republic limits convertible loans to sophisticated investors and existing investors, and thus the reach is a bit smaller.
Yes, Andrei is giving a good example that he changed his account from everyday investor to sophisticated investor just a few days ago. So it's possible.
Yes.
Any other questions? We are here to answer all of them.
Just as an additional example, I already mentioned a bit of what some of the scenarios might look like. We have two in this case. Let's say one investment is worth 100,000 euros in 2 years at the interest rate would be 125,000 and change. And we have two scenarios. If the valuation cap is of 9 million, and if the valuation cap the valuation cap is 9 million, if the valuation of Fagura at the moment of investment is 9 million or 15, in the case of 9 million with the 20% discount, the considered valuation would be of 7.2 million. Meaning that it's basically lower than the cap. And in this case, we have theoretical shares in the company of 1.48%, meaning that the value with the discount and the interest is of 143.5K. If the valuation is higher than the valuation cap, for example, 15 million, with the 20% discount is 12. This is higher than the cap, so the cap is being considered. And in this case, the value of the investment would be of 142 almost thousand. I would say probably there is the scenario where the valuation itself is slightly higher than the cap, but with the discount is lower. So for example, if it's 10 million, then with the discount it would be 8 million. 8 million is lower than the 9, so the 8 million would be considered for the valuation. The value itself would probably be somewhere in between these two. I don't have the exact numbers, but each of these scenarios has a somewhat different impact. But the terms are set as such to protect you regardless of the scenario. All right. I think are no more questions. We exhausted all of our slides. If you have any feedback, additional questions, we are here. I think you also have our contacts, so let us know. I think Andres unmuted, so maybe there is more questions.
Yeah, maybe you could talk about little about secondary market in the platform.
In the platform itself. All right, so secondary market, I'm not it will take a while for me to set the share screen to Fagura platform. But basically in the platform itself, there are currently free options for investment. There is the active investment, where basically each investor on Fagura can evaluate each individual loan if they consider that the risk, some loans might be higher risk or higher interest rate, but the investor might be a bit more comfortable because he understands the financials or the industry and understands how things will go. So they might want to have a bit more active role. That's one option. Another option is the auto invest option, meaning that you can set some parameters on the platform, and whenever a new loan is approved for financing, then based on the criteria you set there, the investments would go for the loan. I think I'll stop the share screen just to not be confused in between two places. And then the third option is the secondary market. So in secondary market, the investors who invested in the loans or who ultimately gave the financing for the loans. Maybe they need to make some purchases themselves or they want to make some other investments. They have the option to place the investments on the secondary market on the platform. And then some other investors might decide to buy it. In order to balance things out a bit, what has been introduced is a discount. There are several criteria. You can even set a discount for a loan that is performing perfectly and has been paying everything on time. But in order to incentivize new investors to buy quicker your stake in the loan, there is possible for the investors to set some discount amount, 1 to 5%, depending on how much they prefer. There are some preset discounts depending on the status of the loan. So, for example, if the loan has been delayed for some time, it might have a higher discount. If someone has been non-performing, meaning that it has even higher delays, then there is an even higher discount. And for example, the loan that you can see on Catalina's screen, the discount is quite high because the loan is currently in the bailiff status, yes. Uh, uh, and depending on the status of the loan, the discounts might be different. And this again facilitates to transfer the risk from between different types of investors. For example, this one, it has under 30 days delay and it has a 10% discount. So this might be quite interesting because 10 days delay, usually most of the loans recover or a decent share of them recover. If someone is the bailiff, then that's basically the guess whatever the money will be recuperated. So depending on the status of the loans, there are different options for the investors. There's also the option to basically split in smaller amounts. So, for example, if someone has invested in a single loan, quite large amount, they can split it in smaller chunks of 25, 50, or depending on how much they prefer. So it's easier acquired by other investors. And the auto invest also has an option to auto invest in secondary market.
Thank you. My question is, in what cases you rebuy loans from investors? There are some cases that you will rebuy them in the lower price from investors and return the money.
I'm not familiar with the standard protocol for this, if there is one. This is not necessarily my direct area, but my guess would be when the loan goes to a bailiff or when the uh, expectation is that it will not perform as well. But I'm not very familiar with that scenario, and I don't think it's a common practice. So generally, if the loan is non-performing, and as with investments in loans and or equity, the risk is with the investor, but also the return is with them. That's why we are planning to launch soon the Prime option, which has a somewhat more stable, a quite diversified portfolio. And in that one, we will have a replacement of non-performing loans between the reserve fund. It will basically buy out the non-performing loans from the portfolio or the stake of the non-performing loans from the portfolio.
May I ask
Sure.
how after what period the buyback guarantee will start to work on your new that option? There's a lot of questions. Questions when you go on a secondary market and you see late loans, you don't really know how much they late. You only know if they late more than 60 days.
We have three categories. So there is the under 3 days delay. I'm not sure if it's even flagged because that's usually a not non-significant impact on the loan performance itself. Then there is the from 3, 4 days to 30. So that's one range. Then there is from 30 to 60, from 60 to 90, and then from 90 plus it becomes
Yeah, but it's a very big range between 60 and 90 days. And if I'm planning to repurchase, for example, from someone a loan, I really wish to know how many days is late. 61 or
or
59
89.
or 89, sorry.
Yeah. Catalina, if you could get back to there is a lot of information provided regarding, I think, the payment
Didn't find.
schedule also, but I'm not sure. Uh, Because I know there is that data, but I'm not sure if it's the investors platform. Since I've mentioned we are somewhat fresh, I might be confusing some pieces of information where they are placed.
As well, like investing in other platforms, have taught me that Catalina, yeah, that you can have information about what is percentage of recovering of defaulted loans, and yeah, for example,
Different types of
yeah, this kind
stages.
of all statistics and data I really miss because I only know my personal statistics.
We are currently working on a statistics page, and you can find it. It's in progress, and it will be launched very soon, in matter of weeks, maybe days even. So yes, we understand and we know very well these challenges that we have, and we are working on them because yeah, it's this feedback it was provided by several investors.
Okay, thank you. Just technical, some issues. Investing via mobile is not that informative because there's a lot of which you don't see information, and as well in auto investment, it would be really great if it would be a possibility to allocate which loans you really wish in sense of interest rate, because now I can only choose it by rating. I cannot choose by interest rate.
Very good feedback. Thank you for that. The application was just recently launched. So yes, we are still working on it and still adjusting and improving the experience of our investors. And yeah, in the future, we are planning to become a completely mobile platform that will allow also borrowers to take the loans from their mobile very easy. So yes, you just guessed our vision.
That's good, thank you.
And in terms of the interest rate, I think one of the reasons why it's more bad risk than interest rates is that the interest rates might fluctuate from time to time. And then whenever the national bank changes or there is some considerations that are influencing the interest rate, that will also